Try to destiny swap with you, and you didn't even know it. They didn't want to see you win. In fact, they never wanted to see you win. They wanted to see you fail because they saw the light within you. They saw how powerful you were moving. They saw how easily you manifested the life that you want to live. They saw when you were at your lowest. They thought that you were going to stay there. But you fought for your authenticity. You fought for your truth. You fought and continued to move even when they tried to kick you 100 steps back. Every single time that you reached out to ask for their help. Every time that you used your truth and told them the things that you're going through. They went back and told others and made these people look at you and feel a certain type of way about you. Those people did not want to see you win. In fact, those people were your family, your friends, the people you grew up with, and you saw all of that. And instead of you allowing them to continue to do it, they looked at you as if you were crazy when you stepped away and you turned your back on them when they turned their back on you. You know? And so you continue to move forward and you gradually continue to ascend and become a greater version of you. And once you became a greater version of you, the butterfly that bloomed out of the cocoon and went back to where the caterpillars were, they didn't like it. And so now you had to learn, you learned to love them from afar. You did. And I'm grateful and I'm so proud of you. Regardless of how they made you feel, regardless of how they treated you, regardless of all of the things that they did to you. And a lot of y'all, they even called y'all crazy and threw y'all on psych wards. Against your own will. Because you saw things from a different angle. You started to see things from a different mind. Your mind started to shift. And it's not like it shifted because it wanted to on its own. It's because you asked God to do it for you. You wanted to see the wisdom. You wanted to see the light of, you wanted to see the dark areas in the world that you weren't aware of or in your life, and God showed it to you. And in the process of God doing that, God also showed you that in these times, in this darkness, the people that are in the dark with you cannot do nothing for you. In fact, they'll try to keep you there if you allow them to. So you had to use that flashlight when God gave it to you, and you did. You did. And you started to illuminate everywhere that you went. You started to change a lot of people just from speaking to them and being in their life and in influencing them. You were being you authentically. You were being the individual that you were when you were at your lowest, when you were around the relatives and the family members and the friends that were kicking you when you were at your lowest. And when you were at your lowest, when they were kicking you, you were still giving them light and you were still giving them love. But guess what? They saw that that was a time for them to take advantage and to try to shut you away for good. But you said no. You said no. You said no. God said no. God said, not mine, not this one. You know? And so in the process of you doing that and you becoming greater and greater and greater and greater and greater, the gossip got stronger and stronger and stronger. But you slayed it and slayed it and slayed it and slayed it and slayed it. And then somebody came in and tried to destiny swap you. And try to come in and siphon off all your energy. Try to become you. But they couldn't. You know what I mean? And for some of you, they were super close to you. You were mentoring them, trying to, give them game and become a greater version of you and teach them the things that you knew. And in fact, if you didn't teach them, they wouldn't be on that road right now. But they tried to destiny swap with you. And there was a couple of years where you were probably in confusion. Like, yo, what's going on? Why are things slowing down? Why am I in this space now? But it was because they were siphoning off your energy. But God showed you, it made you feel and see who these people were in the process of you growing and becoming a greater version of yourself away from the people who, you know what I mean, weren't good for you. You started to meet new people, and that person, these people saw the light. It was a different level, right? They saw the light. New, like God say, new levels, new devils. You got away from the first the first level, you passed that, and then you became greater without them, and other people came into your life, and that person tried to destiny swap. You got close to this person too. They tried to destiny swap, which threw you in a state of confusion and hermit mode, but it wasn't confusion. God was protecting you. God was showing you what was for you and what wasn't for you. And in isolation, you started to see like, yo, I know exactly who it is. I know exactly who they are, who's trying to take away from you. You knew that. You knew who these people were. God was showing you. They didn't have to say anything. And so when you did that, you isolated yourself again. You know, you did your spiritual work. You detached. You know, their energy no longer had any influence over you. And they couldn't siphon off your energy anymore. They couldn't build off of your energy anymore. Let's be real. And you called all your energy back and your power back, and you started to become a greater version of you again. Everything, all of the things that were destined for you, your gifts, your talents, to the fullest capacity, your mind, your soul, your magnetism started to become even greater, right? Started to become even greater because they no longer had spiritual attachments to your destiny. They were trying to destiny swap, but they couldn't. They couldn't. What a time to be alive, especially at this time, because you're needed way more than you know right now. And the fact that you have all of your power back means that you're limitless. And when you're limitless, you have the power to influence. And God gave you that power so you can influence his people. You know what I mean? But yeah, when they try to siphon that energy, when you called all your power back, they felt it. They had tower moments. Everything started to crumble for them, and they knew it. Everything, everything that they built off of you, off of that energy, started to crumble. And they try to find ways to come back into your life. You know what I mean? And recently, there was one person that you probably came across, and they did come back into your life just for a little bit, but you saw. And they exposed to you. You didn't even have to ask for it. They exposed to you who they were, and they exposed to you that they were the ones that was doing all of this magic, the destiny swapping and the siphoning behind your back. And you would have never known that it was this person, but they didn't even tell you directly. You were just reading the signs, you know, just like God was telling you to read the sign. And that person still don't know that you know that they tried to destiny swap with you and siphon your energy. You know what I mean? The little success that they experienced off of your energy was nothing but a return to sender, because things happened to them that they would have never experienced, that they never would have experienced if they didn't come for you. Good and bad. You know, but the good is already ran out. The good that they experienced from siphoning off your energy is no longer. The bad now, some people are gaining weight. Some people are deforming, but that's not your problem, though. That's theirs. They decided to lay in that bed, and that bed was with God, but not for the right reasons. It was for the wrong reasons, because they tried to come and tried to come in and determine the destiny of a chosen. Like God said, touch not my anointed and do no harm to my prophets. Or, you know what I'm saying? And so they tried to do that when they came in and tried to energetically and spiritually tie themselves to you and put roots on you. They try to slow something down that wasn't supposed to be slowed down. You're on a mission. You're on a divine mission, right? You were chosen to be here to be on a divine mission. And so when they try to come in and do that, they have to deal with certain things, man. They have to deal with certain things because God wasn't happy with them. And they try to put on a mask as though they were so righteous, but when in fact it was just them putting on a mask to get close to the righteous so they can siphon off of you. God said no. Again. And so continue to walk within your righteousness and don't allow nothing or nobody that you don't know and be to come in and influence you. And be careful, man. Stop taking gifts from people. Stop taking advice from certain people. right? Because all advice ain't good advice. And all intentions behind these gifts aren't good intentions. You know, if people are doing certain things and they're doing exchanges, swaps and stuff, swap. They give you something, you swap out. Bro, it can be a freaking destiny swap attempt. But you're chosen. You know, so God's going to come in and intervene when things like that happen. And for many of you, you had to experience it to learn to not do it. Because you just didn't know. So God had to show you and teach you these lessons. He didn't take you out, but God, the Most High, the Alpha and the Omega, didn't take you out. Didn't allow them to take you out. It's like it's like the story of Job. But at the end of the day, you had to learn. You had to learn the things that they do for the next realm that you're going into, right? So when you do get there, when you do arrive into the rooms that God and army of angels have went into these spaces to clear it out for you and to prepare it for you, you know exactly how to walk within that. You know what I mean? Without someone coming into your vicinity and knocking it off. You know what I mean? By giving you something or saying certain things or doing certain gestures that is tied into throwing you into a different direction unknowingly. And so God prepared you to see that. God has given you the sight to see. Have given you intuition and discernment, you know what I mean? And fruits of the spirit, you know, so you can be able to go into these rooms and into this next realm prepared and equipped from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet with the body armor of God and the knowing of certain things so you can prosper in that realm. You know what I mean? So I love that for you. I love you, and continue to follow your dreams. You deserve it. Peace.